Good evening. So glad you guys are back tonight to hear about what God is doing in Ireland, and for DeWayne to be able to share with us again about some of his experiences there. And this is kind of the format that we're going to go with tonight. Super informal, okay? He has some pictures that he's going to show you and talk with you a little bit about, and give you just some information, whatever he believes is the important stuff that you need to know. And then we're going to have a time where you have any questions about the ministries there, what goes on, spiritual climate, challenges, things that come to your mind as well, and all that kind of about his experience in Ireland, and then 20 plus times that he's been there. And then also just a time for you to ask any questions of him, considering his ministry and his church. And I shared this a little bit with some of you, but I've referred to this, his ministry kind of, and him this whole weekend as we've talked about things, is he's kind of a ministry unicorn in the sense that his church he's bivocational pastor, and his church is over 500 in attendance right now in worship, and they're getting ready to move to a third service because they need space. And a lot of conversions, people coming to Christ. And he'll be quick to tell you that has nothing really to do with any creative thing that he's doing. It's just that they love the Lord, they love people, and they're sharing the gospel. And so that's a neat thing. But you just don't hear about a lot of churches that are growing in that ministry model of not having full-time staff people at all. Everybody just doing their part, and they're feeling their calling. And so they've just a neat experience there for him in the last 10 years there. And so, just thankful that you're here tonight to hear about the missions opportunities that we could maybe plug into and become a part of again. One of the things that we talked about in this last year when I talked with the search team was to reinstate a mission focus, not just in giving, but of going, and family missions, and being part of the body outside of the building. And these are just some of the ways through our giving, through our participation, that we can do that. And it's a real chance. Some people, I think, see missions as a pipe dream, but it's a calling, and we can do those things. God will equip that. So excited about this time. I'm going to pray for us, and then let DeWayne take you through this. It's going to be something I really believe that will stir your heart, and you'll really feel. So let's pray together. God, thank you so much for our time here together, and this weekend. I thank you for Bruce on Friday, DeWayne on Saturday, Chuck this morning, and then we're hearing about Ireland tonight. And I pray that we have been challenged to consider those moments in our lives that have truly should make a difference in the way that we live. And Father, I pray tonight as we just talk a little bit about those across the ocean, the journey for Christ, because we get sometimes so narrow-minded that our faith, our Christianity, Jesus Christ himself is just for us. But when Jesus said that he died for all, he meant all. And so I pray that you will just stir something within our hearts, whether to pray, give, or go. And we're going to give you the glory for all that you do. We love you and we thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. And all God's people said, amen. Right? DeWayne?
Are we live? There we go. I can actually leave my glasses off tonight because I'm really not going to be reading anything, and that's good. Because here's how my glasses work. If I don't have them, I can't read, but if I've got them on, I can't see you. So tonight, seriously, just like Chris said, very, very, very informal. I just want to talk to you about a passion of mine, and hopefully it's a passion of yours, because it's instruction from God for all of us. And the thing is, a lot of times we're not necessarily as obedient as we should be in all the commands and all the directions that God gives us, but this is one of those that I can promise you that as much as you can ever pour into a mission experience, it will bless you even more. So I'm going to start off tonight by asking you a question. If I were to throw out the phrase mission trip, what does that mean to you? What does it look like to you? And this is open-ended. Mission trip. Huh? Another country? Okay. Anybody else?
Taking the gospel outside of our footprint.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one too.
For me, it's growing closer together with the people at our fellowship.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yes. You know, I think we all have some sort of a stirring in our heart or our minds when we think about mission trip, and certainly, you know, getting on an airplane is what most people will think of, and we don't sometimes understand that the mission field really begins a lot closer than that. Your church is a mission field. PK can't do all the work here, and so as people come in, your mission could be just simply connecting with those coming in and accommodating and loving on those and following up. You know, that's missions, because missions really at the crux of it is sharing the gospel. It's taking it out. It's, you know, it's getting the word, the hope, and the truth, and all that out there. And so I'm going to give you, I didn't really write anything out, so it's going to I'm hoping it's going to flow efficiently and good. I think it will. I started really mission work in my teenage years, and it was local. It was in their nursing homes. And I'm not saying I started, I was involved with. It sounds a little better. I certainly didn't plan anything, I just kind of went along. We, as a youth group, had a very active youth group growing up, and we believed in the 80s about getting outside the church. It really was, in the 80s was kind of a strange concept in a lot of churches, because a lot of people weren't getting outside the church. And so we started pouring into senior citizens in our church, in our community. We were washing windows, and we were cleaning out flower beds at the right time of the year, and gutters and all those things. And we had this bright idea one night. We were going to make some desserts. Well, the only thing we knew how to make was Rice Krispie treats, and they were good. About a third of those made them out of the kitchen, you know, and we were just delivering those. And we started kind of, you know, going, spending some time in the nursing home on occasion with people, just loving. And we were taking the message of Jesus. And the message of Jesus is love. It's loving others. And so we didn't necessarily take on the whole gospel, sharing it. We demonstrated Jesus through loving others. And that was just a real kickstart for me. So fast forward a little bit. I don't know if you all were here the other night. I surrendered to the gospel ministry when I was 16 years old. Saved at 9, surrendered to the gospel at 16. Had no idea where God was calling me. Now, understanding my background, I've got 4 older brothers. I've got 5 stepbrothers that came in to pass. My father passed away from cancer when I was a freshman in high school. Mom remarried this awesome guy who necessarily wasn't awesome in the beginning because he's so quiet, and I'm not, and it was just difficult to build this relationship. But later on, and I attribute this to my wife, because when I met her and brought her around, they just clicked. And he loved my babies so much. And anyway, so fast forward a little bit further, surrender to the gospel, not knowing what exactly was going to happen, and the missions and the pastoral ministry. And at 17, I graduated from high school. I was sitting in a dorm room one night, and a good friend of mine calls and says, "Hey, what do you think about taking this youth group?" Sure. I wasn't sure. I didn't know. And I said, "Yeah, I'll do it." And was probably terrible at it, but I got in there with those kids who were my age. I'm 17, 18 years old, you know. These kids are 17, 18 years old. And did that for a season. And then I played football in college, so it was a little bit hard to continue that. And I started working at a church in Campbellsville, and then a little bit later took on my first, just diving right in. So I've been in this for about 35 years now. I'm more excited about the ministry today than I've ever been. I'm more excited about serving Jesus than I've ever been in my whole life. A few years later, I had this opportunity. I shared with some of you who were here about going to China. That was my very first mission trip. And I told Mom, because I was so excited, and she was not. She was basically crying, said, "Please don't go, baby. I love you. Do ministry here." And Mom and I got in this long conversation at that point about mission work. And she said, "Do it right here." And I said, "Well," and I was pretty bold with my mother because I totally respected her. And I said, "Well, Mom, missions is not just here, and it's not just there." And I said, "But if everybody will do their part, all bases will be covered." And so in a church like yours, if some of you will stay local, if some of you will go abroad, if some of you will go to Kentucky, because Lord knows we need Jesus in Kentucky, we cover our bases. And so here's the real quick story about China. I was married. We were freshly married. I was working as an inpatient therapist in a psychiatric hospital. That's a crazy job, no pun intended. It was a great job. It was a great job. My wife was just fresh out of college, and she was pioneering a kindergarten program in a large, very large Baptist church in a neighboring town of ours about 10 minutes away. So we had no money, really. We just bought our first house. We were living in an apartment, and I said, honey, this is crazy. We're throwing our money away. We need to be praying about a house. And so we prayed. About a month later, a 3-bedroom brick, 1960s kind of a feel to it, landed on us. It cost us 23 cents more a month than our apartment was costing. It was definitely a God thing, and we lived there for 10 years. But in the middle of all that, I decided, yes, I would go to China, Beijing, China. We were going in as a softball team and all that stuff. I had no idea how I was going to get to go. I told Robbie, don't have any money. And he said, Robbie Spear, by the way. I said, Robbie, like everybody knows Robbie, director of Sports Reach in Kentucky. And he says, don't worry about money. He said, you raise this much and I'll take it. And I said, I think I can do that. So on the very last night, I'd been speaking at little churches, anybody that would listen to me, anybody that would let me come and speak and that they would consider sponsoring me. And my last night was in my home church. And I was sharing my heart, and I was just pouring it out and sharing about missions and how God had called me. And, they took up a love offering. And I remember at the very end, they counted it. And it was great. It was a blessing. It was just a little bit short. I mean, like $20-some and some change. And as I was leaving, I was getting in my little pickup truck that I had. Everybody was gone. My youth minister, who was a part of that church where I was now youth minister, came out and knocked. She's a little bitty old girl. His daughter's a little bitty old girl. And she came out and knocked on my window, and she handed me this little baggie. She had broken into her piggy bank. She had no idea what I needed. Can I tell you, it was like within 10 cents of everything. So for me, it was just such an affirmation. Went to China, loved it. It was amazing. A boy from the country who really hadn't been out of the state very much, to be able to travel like that and serve God on that mission field was just simply amazing. I loved it. Got to go back again. But in my heart, I love sharing Jesus, but in my heart, it just wasn't where I felt led to go. In between the 2 China trips was Ireland. And my wife and I got to go to Ireland. And we just found out we were getting ready to have our first child. And the roads in Ireland are real curvy. And she got so sick the whole time. But it was amazing. The trip was amazing. And I learned so much about missions. I learned so much about the culture of Ireland. And my heart, y'all, I can't even explain it to you. There's no words to tell you this draw that I have for the country, specifically Northern Ireland. It's an island nation, Northern Ireland, the Republic of Ireland, 2 separate nations, torn apart by so many different things. But I began to just fall in love with the people, and had the chance to watch people grow from children to now adults, and have had a chance to be a part of their weddings and their lives. We had one come live with us for about 1.5 years. We've got a family that's coming over this week. They're going to be staying with us from Northern Ireland, just dear, dear friends of ours. But what you see in this beautiful, beautiful nation is kind of, it was a mixed message for me, because I'm thinking Ireland, everyone wants to go to Ireland. Everybody feels like they're Irish, right? Everybody, I'm Irish. Yeah, I'm Irish. And when I got over there, I saw the truth about Ireland. And there's such a lostness. In the middle of its beauty, there's a darkness. And that darkness is people not understanding the gospel. They grow up in either a Protestant or a Catholic family, and that's who you are. And I've always had the understanding, being a history major, and understanding that really it's a lot like our black and white issue through civil rights movement, and the bitterness and the ridiculousness and the hatred that's there. And the Catholics hate the Protestants, and the Protestants hate the Catholics. And Lord help if you ever intermarried because you were rejected. It's just kind of one of those things. But they would base their salvation on their birth religion, on what their family was. And so if they were born into a family who proclaimed, and just about everyone does, to be Protestant, then they felt like they were saved. Or if they were Catholic, they were saved. The other was lost. And when we arrived, Carlene and I, we went in 1999. They had just signed a peace treaty. Now, if you know anything about Ireland and its culture at all, they've been going through what's called the Troubles for generation and generation. You have Protestants attacking Catholics, Catholics attacking Protestants, petrol bombs, murders, attacking the guard, the police, and it's just been an upheaval. It's so very sad when you go see these amazing people in this beautiful, beautiful country torn apart by ignorance. And we were able to set in, over the years, several different churches. The Church of England is very prevalent in Northern Ireland, and it's dead. It's dead. There's no, I don't know. And it's heartbreaking. Quite honestly, it was heartbreaking. 1999, we were there. Peace treaty had just been signed. We had been in Belfast, and we were returning back, and we've got a van load of Americans. It was a full van, plus we had one young Irish girl, 16. She was kind of our tour guide, and we were actually driving that van too. And everything's on the opposite side. You shift with your left, you're driving with your right, you're on the right side. It's kind of crazy. We get pulled over by one of the radical groups. I can't really remember if it was IRA or if the Orangemen, but we got pulled over, and they stepped onto our bus with fully automatic machine guns. And we found out later that one of the parties, one of the radical groups, had just attacked the other and blew up one of their people. A man who had just gotten out of prison, and so they had been retaliating. So that woke me up to why I was in Ireland. They needed Jesus, and that's not joking. In a country that proclaims faith and religion, they were missing truth. And my heart, you all, broke for them. And it was almost like a haunting, that my heart was so uneasy to go back. And so the first time I went was beautiful, loved it, and it was a learning experience. Didn't go back for a few years, and just kept feeling this call. In between, I'm doing local missions and all that stuff and loving it. But I just felt like I needed to go back to Northern Ireland. And went back, and when I went back, I met this young man by the name of Richie Shilliday. And he was probably the face of the ministry that caused me to fall in love with it. He was a young man who had grown up in the middle of troubles. He was a little bit trouble himself, but he found the Lord. He found true faith. He found Jesus, and it changed everything about him. And so he started volunteering with this ministry that ran through this organization called Murlock House, or Project Evangelism. And I met him, and eventually over time he had to leave that job because there's strange rules about volunteering in Northern Ireland. He could only volunteer, and that's what he was doing, so many hours. So he branched out on his own, and he started a ministry called Riot. And I've been going back to Riot now for, it's somewhere close to 25 times. I've just stopped counting. And I love it. I'm passionate. As a matter of fact, if my wife would have been on the same page with me, we'd be living in Ireland right now. But she had no desire because she doesn't like cold. But it's been a wonderful, amazing opportunity to pour in. Now I'm here to tell you a little bit about Ireland, but I'm here to encourage you on missions. I'm here to encourage you to be mission-minded. And so we'll get to some pictures here in just a minute. I'll talk a little bit more about Ireland. But let me talk about missions just for a second. We identified that missions is taking the gospel message out. All right? That's what we said. Where can you take the gospel message out here in this city or in the city that you live in? Where can you do that work? It's okay. I'm good with uncomfortable silence. I'm a teacher. Yeah, anywhere, everywhere, to those who aren't saved. How about your restaurants after church? Go be patient. How many of you have been impatient with this COVID? We may not have items that you want. And it may take you 45 minutes to get this cheeseburger. But what if we respond in love? And what if we say, hey, listen, we just got out of church, and it's okay. Take your time. And we're patient. What about the schools? We've identified the school as one of our main mission fields. Now, LaRue County, Hodgenville, as I shared, a little small community. It's about 12,000 in the whole county, 3,000-ish in the city itself. We have one high school. It has about 750 people in it. Our middle school has about 600 in it, and then 2 elementary schools. We've identified that as one of our most important mission fields because it's a concentration of people that we can reach. It's close to us. It's doable for us. So we send stuff to the teachers all the time. Cookies, sandwiches, lunch. We'll send school supplies. We try to get as many people involved in the school as we can. Part of the reason why we've seen growth at Parkway is because it's my home community, and I've coached for years, and I teach, And so I'm able to use that as my mission field. And I know you all have this here. It's a federal thing, separation of church and state, right? I don't pay a whole lot of attention to that. I'm just going to tell you. I'm not overt and I'm not beating anybody to death with it. But listen, if anybody asks me about Jesus, I'm going to tell them. And I like to play music in my classroom. So I choose K-Love. And we'll play music. And that spawns questions. And we'll stop. Sometimes my kids know when I come in and I've got a little bit better clothes on than normal, they say, "You must have a funeral today." I said, "I do." And I got to leave for a few minutes. And they said, "Just tell them we're praying for them." And it's starting to plant this seed in their mind. Mission fields everywhere, you guys. Gas station. Convenience stores. Your neighborhood. How many of you know your neighbors around you? Anybody know your neighbor? Nobody knows your neighbors? Well, wide open mission field. When I say know your neighbors, and if you don't, it's okay. Church. Find out if they go to church at all. Get a little radical and say, "Would you like to ride with us to church this week?" I encourage my church. I put them to the test a lot. I said, "Listen, invite somebody here and throw something extra in the crock pot and invite them over to your house for lunch." Because we want to do everything that we can do to reach people for the cause of the gospel. I'm non-exhaustive. Keeping going. It's worth it. And as you begin to invest into people in the community and around you for the cause of Christ, on this mission field that we have readily available, you will change the face of your community. You'll change this church. You can do it. Trust me. It's amazing when you do too. So the mission field, it's out there, it's open, it's for you, it's all around you. Take advantage of every little bit that you can. And believe me, you can. Build relationships. It really is all about building relationships. And that's one of the things that's been the common theme for us in Ireland, is we go in and we build relationships because they know now, after all these years, when an American team comes in, it means that they're going to, their mission team, they're going to be doing all this stuff. So we build relationships, and then they've got a ministry that comes in behind and that really works with them. They're at a point now, for the first time since I've been involved with them, that this man Richie, who has a drop center, a youth center, now has Protestants and Catholics playing together. And I'm telling you, that's big. That's a big deal. They worship together in this little place. They're not changing from being Catholic or Protestant, but they're learning to believe in Jesus, and that changes that faith, that religion. And man, it's something amazing. So we build relationships. They come in behind. They start to go deeper with them, and things are changing. It's taking time. It takes time here. I've got some pictures for you. Chris, you want to roll with these? And I'm just going to kind of talk about them as we go through. So this first picture, and by the way, stop me if y'all have any questions. I don't want to do all the talking. I told Chris as long as I went, when I preached, I'll probably go shorter if y'all don't talk. But so this is the Murlock House. This was a lord's mansion. An English lord, his wife wanted a residence in Ireland, and so they came over, built this. Go ahead and flip to the next one. That's the front of it. This is the back of it, and it's been modernized a little bit. Matter of fact, one of the mission trips we went over, we replaced carpet and tiling for them, which was really fun and nice. It's huge, and he built it. They moved over here, and then eventually this trust, it's like a national park there, took it over, and then John Moxon, who is a little Irish guy. That's how I really got to Ireland. I was sitting at my desk at Campbellsville University, and this little bitty Irish man comes in. He goes, "I'm looking for Ed Pavey." I said, "Hey, man." And so we're talking, and we got that first team from Campbellsville to go over, and I just fell in love. You can go ahead and change the next one, too. So everywhere from where we serve in Northern Ireland, and listen, y'all have got the Blue Ridge Mountains, and they're gorgeous, and I love them. These are the Mourne Mountains. It's a source of pride for the Irish. They love these. Last summer, they were on fire. A lot of it burned, but it's already healed itself back beautifully. But that's just one of the many things you see as part of the view. You go ahead. So we serve in a city called Dundrum, and it's 45 minutes south of Belfast, and it's 5 minutes away from a summer tourist town called Newcastle. This is just one of hundreds, if not thousands, of castles that are around. You can YouTube that and Google it. But Dundrum Castle, it's a 10-minute uphill walk. Everything's uphill there from where we stay. Beautiful thing you can see. Okay. Another view of the Mournes across the Irish Sea. Same there. Okay. So in Belfast, talking about the difficulties between Irish and or the Catholics and Protestants, there's a wall that was built during the Troubles. And this wall separates a Catholic community from a Protestant community. Yeah. So much tension, so much hatred that they built, and it's a massive, long wall. And everywhere on this wall, people now have come and they started signing it, praying for peace, hoping for peace. And each year around, give me a chance here, 12th of June, they have a march. And the Protestants march, remembering a great victory that they had in a battle. The problem is they march through the Catholic communities, and it causes an upheaval. I wish I'd have thought to get those videos out. I've got some videos of them marching. But one of the things they do on this night is they make these pallet fires. They get like the pallets that we get, and they stack those things up like 60 feet. And it's bigger, way bigger around than this church, and like 60 feet down. And they burn it. It's just a big bonfire. But it drives a little contention in between Protestants and Catholics. So you can go ahead next one. So these are a few pictures, and I didn't put these in any order, so I may go back and forth. I just kind of took them off my phone. I asked my buddy to send a few of these. This is the backyard of the Wright house where we stay over a course of time, and he is completely faith-based. Actually, kind of moving into a little bit more of a. It's kind of funny. He started this ministry. He developed a council to hold him accountable and make sure the ministry is moving. And they're kind of working in a salary that comes out of people who pay. So it's really still faith-based. It's coming out of the people who come. So over the course of the last few years, he's had a vision to develop this. It was just a backyard. And you'll see some more things. You can go to the next one. Actually, go back one. I'm sorry. Go back, because I thought the next one was that too. So he's put in swings, and he's put in a kid park. This is the actual house that we stay in. It's in our terms, it's a parsonage. They call it a manse. It's huge, and so up to 25 people can stay in that. Okay. Down at the bottom right is a little Methodist church that that's on that property. It's actually everything there is owned by that Methodist church. The Methodist church has about 8 active people coming, and they're very, very much senior citizens, senior adults there. And I'm hoping, and this is a source that you could actually pray for, put it in your prayer journal, that eventually Richie will be able to kind of manage that and maybe have some pastors come in that will reach the community, maybe a little bit more than what's going on with that little Methodist church. Okay. That's one of my favorite pictures. I took that. It was that's a boardwalk. This is nothing. It's nothing to do with ministry. But I will say this, one of the unique things about this mission trip, now, I've been on, the Lord has blessed me. I've been to Japan to do ministry, I've been to China to do ministry, I've been to Belize, Scotland, the Netherlands, and just about every one of those just work you to death when you get there. And granted, I want to work and I want to serve, and I also, I'd like a minute to sit down, especially now that I'm 52 and not 25. So on this mission trip, what we do is kind of a schedule for the day. You'll get up, you'll have a nice breakfast. Each team takes turns cleaning up, and then you have your time, your quiet time, and then we'll all come together and have a little time of praise, prayer, and we talk about what's going on for the day. We'll have lunch, and then we'll go out, and you get to see sights of Northern Ireland. So he blends in culture, and he'll tell you this straightforward. He wants you to experience Ireland. He doesn't want you to just come and serve, and not get to see the beauty of the country and know the culture and the people. So for a couple of 2 or 3 hours, you'll go out every day and you'll see things, and this is just one of them. This is a boardwalk that goes down to the Irish Sea, and again, you see the Mournes there in the background. Some of the other things that you might get to see is like Giant's Causeway, and that's in the very north in Antrim. All kinds of castles, just some beautiful things. So these are the missionaries' kids. I love these guys, and I've had a chance to watch all of them be born and grow up. On the left is Charlie. Charlie almost died when she was little. She had some health issues very, very early on, and she's actually, the one on the left is actually the oldest. It's left for y'all too, yeah. Addie's in the middle, and she is, they call her their giant. She's just so tall and wonderful. And then Charlie, that's little Richie on the right there. They love Americans. And every time I come, they say, "What are you bringing me?" They know I'm going to bring stuff for them. So, next. And this is the whole Shiloh Day family. Richie on the left, he is Irish as Irish gets, let me tell you. He grew up Protestant, but he had a unique opportunity to play Gaelic football, which is Catholic, and nobody ever gets to do that. He was just that athletic. He's hard-nosed Irish. Jen is back on the right. She's from Canada. She met Richie on a mission trip. They fell in love. He came back over to Canada, proposed to her, and a little bit later they got married. So Jen here, she just battled cancer. Went through a double mastectomy, battled cancer, and she's back healthy. The Lord has just provided, and we're so glad. We sponsor them. And here's, I'll talk to you guys toward the end of this if you have questions. Some of the ways that you can support them is taking a team over, or you can donate. And so we as a church have, excuse me, Chris, do you have one? Well, somebody's almost half done with it. So we decided to sponsor them. We are a church that we profess being a mission-minded church, but you know what? We weren't really doing anything about that. We love missions. We supported missions, but we weren't really active. And so God had blessed us. Tithes have been coming in good. And I don't want money sitting in an account. Because if it can be used for God's glory, use it for God's glory. Yes, be smart and thank you, Chris. Be smart and put some away for tough times, but use it. And so we were having some extra money, so we decided we adopted them. Not for a ton, not a full adoption, but in part, we send them support twice a year. And we also support another pair of missionaries from Oregon. My hope is a little bit radical, a little bit crazy. I hope within the next 5 years we can fully support both missionaries. And I believe we can. And I think that's God's will. So, yep, next one. So here's an aerial view of kind of where we serve. This is it's in Dundrum. And right there in the middle, you'll see the riot house. And you can kind of see a little bit of the ground. It's not a great picture. It was an aerial shot. Okay. Signage kind of lets you know riot. It's a revival in our town. It's definitely a play on words. And it certainly means something to the people there who are familiar with riots, because they still happen. Not quite as frequently as they did, 25 years ago, but they still occasionally flare up. And so to kind of help fund the ministry, he also opens up for, it's kind of like a hostel where people can come and stay. It's a great, reasonable rate. If you all were to ever say, I want to go, I'm not necessarily going on a mission trip, but I want to go to Northern Ireland, you could stay there incredibly cheap, a wonderful experience and a place to stay, and you can go see everything that you want to see from there. It supports the ministry. Okay. Couple of these, I'll just kind of give me just about 10 seconds on each one, Chris, and you can flip on. That back green building is the youth center. That's where we do that's where the magic happens, right? That's where the relationships happen. Again, that's the front of Riot House and the Methodist Church there. Not photo enhanced. Yeah, everything's green in Ireland. We push mowed that hill. That's insane. So go back one. Another thing, and there'll be a picture pop up here in just a minute, but another thing that they're trying to, because they're constantly, they've got it. They've figured this out. They've figured out what we as American churches need to figure out. It's about building relationships, right? The more relationships we can build with people, the easier we can share the gospel with them. The more relationships we build with people within the church, the less likely they are to leave the church. I told you it's not hard to build a church. It's not. It's not hard at all to grow a church, because if every one of us go out and get one person, you see that, it's going to double immediately. The trick is getting them engaged and connected so they won't leave. And if someone comes into your church and doesn't become connected with this church, they will not stay. And you'll scratch your head and you'll go, was it Chris? Was it Chris? Or another Chris? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so you leave yourself kind of scratched. What happened? Well, what happens is we don't build relationships. They recognize this. And so they're right there at the base of that hill there, you'll see little gardens. And so they grow crops and they give them away to their neighbors. They've got one troubled neighbor, and I've been praying that the Lord would move him or move his heart. Seriously. He is a part of a radical group, and he gets all up in a flare when the kids are there, and he's made all kinds of threats. And so anyway, we're praying that he, changes his heart. Another angle. Look there in the left corner. Y'all see that? What is that? Y'all see it sticking out there? Basketball. They know nothing about basketball. They are talented with their feet. If you're ever out playing football, soccer with them, and they kick you in the face, they meant to do it because they're accurate, dead accurate. But they, as good as they are with their feet, they're terrible with their hands. They can't shoot basketball, and they can't throw football. It's so funny. I don't know how many kids I've popped them in the nose. I'm sorry. Here, you catch it with your feet, man. But this was donated by a church that came in, not my church, another church, and they love it. So it's just another opportunity. Okay. So these are my babies, just so you know. This is from a while ago. My kids are grown, but it's Eli there on the left, and on the right's Lily, and back middle's Abby, and the other boy there is Brandon. He's like an adoptive son. Probably a lot of you all have those. He lives in our house, goes straight to the refrigerator. He's just one of our kids. I got to take my whole family on mission, and I'm just going. Can I be bold with you all tonight? Chris and I were talking about Ireland, right? And he says, we've talked about this before. And he said, one of the things that, and this is the way I did it too. I didn't tell him this. This is the way God discerned it to him. He said, I'd like to go over and see it before, we really get much of the church involved, so I know. And I said, you should go. My heart was that you all would send him on a radical note, send his whole family. If you want to love your pastor, if you want him to preach better, if you want him to be more relaxed, pour into him. And this is one way. It is a very safe mission trip for children. And I could give you, and Richie would work with this and cut the cost way down. But if you want your church to be open to this, and if you want to pour into this guy, send him. It will come back to you 100-fold. Every time I go, I'm so inspired for the gospel and so in love with Jesus that I know for the next weeks I'm just preaching off cloud nine. So I would encourage you, if you decide to send him, you let me know. I'll help. I'll send my brother to go too. Next. This is one of the several groups that I've taken. That's at the foot of Dundrum Castle. And we just got out of church that day. Okay. So this is that center I was telling you about. It's not real big, but man, there's probably 30 kids that will come. It's like a youth group if you get that. But the funny thing is, a lot of the parents will come. And I met this fellow by the name, this is very Irish, by the name of Finbar Finnegan, right? Yeah, that's as Irish as it gets. And he's my age. He's a little bit younger, maybe a year younger than me or two. And we started talking, and our history, our background, the way we grew up is almost identical. We just kind of fell in love with each other. And he was lost. And I longed and I prayed for him to know Jesus. And about 2 or 3 years of him coming here, he is saved. Man, it's not about religion anymore. It's about faith. And I'm so excited. He's coming Friday to stay with. He's in America right now. He's coming to stay with us for a couple of nights as he travels over to West Virginia. Yeah. So yeah, a lot of stuff happens there. We've had college groups that come in and have painted those murals. That picture on the right's Ireland, and it kind of shows you where you can barely see it. Maybe you can see a little bit. No, probably not. Where we are is kind of north and east. It's kind of right up at the little jut out. Northern Ireland's quite a bit smaller than the Republic. A little bit different culture. And just like in America, every place you go talks a little different. When you get down south, you can't, around Cork, you can't understand them at all. I mean, it's like talking to somebody from South Carolina or something. Next one. Yeah, that's my little baby girl right there. Yeah, just hanging out, playing games, building relationships. Have a worship service each night. Wasn't always this way. Sometimes they'll have a couple guys that can play guitar. Sometimes they'll just do it off YouTube, and they'll sing praises, and they'll share their testimony, and kids have gotten saved. I had the distinct blessing a few years ago of baptizing Richie's wife, Jen, in the Irish Sea. It was such a watershed moment. It really was. The week before, I'd baptized one of our members in the Caribbean. I came back. I was gone to the Caribbean, down to Belize for 7 days, baptized her, came back on Saturday night, preached on Sunday morning, left out Monday morning at 5 o'clock for Northern Ireland. I stayed a month there, and I got to do that baptism. It was just amazing. Next. That was before it was painted. Same center. Keep going. I've got good. We're getting to. A little bit another picture. This is kind of pre all the work that's gone on in the back, but it's just a little space they've got. Trying to give you a vision. That way when you go, you'll go, oh, I know exactly what that is. Keep going. Some of the kids out, hey, it's international cornhole. Yeah, you can just kind of flip through a few.
45 people sign up.
Yes. Stop right there. Yes, cornhole, that's right. Another way to reach the community is during COVID when they couldn't have teams come in and they were just, again, they're faith-based. They're going by how God blesses them. To continue the ministry, they purchased this little shed, and Jen put together a library, a community library, and they could come in and check out books and read them and return them. They also do the same thing with a little vegetable stand. They put out potatoes and tomatoes and all the different things that they grow there, and people can come get them. They give those away. So, next. Yep. So that's what it looks like now in the back. You can see quite a bit of change. Richie wrote some national grants, got some donors, has some slides some more of that right there, and it's just a great play park. Moms bring kids. Moms stick around, have tea. Moms hear about Jesus. Yeah, it's good. It's good ministry. Yeah, so just a few of those there. He's really beautified. And all this, guys, takes money. And I'm not here asking you to send money, but I'm just telling you that he is taking what he gets and he's pouring it right back into his community. Yeah, that's kind of what it looks like, some of this open space that it's got. And that's it. You can just kind of leave that up there if you don't mind. But that's Ireland, you guys. It's one of many, many opportunities. And I don't want to come here tonight and say this is what you have to do, this is where you need to go. I'm just saying this is an opportunity. And there are opportunities all around the world to go. And God will call you. He will lead you if you'll just let Him. If you'll be open and be submissive. And here's the thing. It's not a choice whether we do mission work, right? Because we're commanded to go and make disciples. That's missions. And unfortunately, many of us who sit in church seats, and myself at parts of time of my life, have been far off base. We've not listened. We've not followed like we've been commanded. It wasn't just this wasn't a command for the disciples. It wasn't a command for first century church. It's a command that for those of us who claim to be Christ followers, this is our set of instructions. And they're non-negotiable. Non-negotiable. And they're for everybody. It's for us to go. It doesn't matter how old you are or what physical shape. There are areas that you can serve. There's areas that you can go and do missions. And literally, if it comes down to it, and if you can't go, then you can send. And if you financially can't send, you know what you can do that's free? You can pray. Or a combination of all. I'm telling you, as a church, you will be blessed if you will submit to being a mission-minded church. One that when you hear about mission trips, mission opportunities, you'll do everything that you can to fill the teams and send the teams and pray for the teams. And then you'll hear the good report when they come back about what happened at that mission trip. But that's my little spiel with you tonight. I wasn't bad tonight. It's only 5:44. But I will open up. Listen, any questions y'all have for me, I mean, as far as missions or church in general or just anything, I'd love to talk. In Northern Ireland? So it could look like physical work, like I painted one year, and I hate painting with a passion, but I did it joyfully for the Lord. We painted all their inside facilities one time. Another time we went back and we removed an area of sod about this size, and we created a parking lot. Last time I moved 2 big rocks for Richie because his wife wanted those moved. We've done footwork by taking out flyers and passing those there. It's completely legal to walk up to a house and stick it in their post box. And so and then that's on their door into their house. And so we would invite people to to come to special events. I was trying to think, one of them, we were there on St. Patrick's Day, and they were having a big celebration and a worship service, and so we went around and passed those out. And just anything that needs to be done. We always ask him for physical labor, because I know that gets kind of costly when we know people who can do certain labor things. Now, internationally, things change, because if you're an electrician here, you may not be able to do electrician work there, because they operate on 220, not 110, and things are different. So one year, we replaced all the tile and carpet squares and the ceramic tile around that Murlock house. Told you about that. Just various things we can do. Now, when you go through customs, do not say you're going to work, because if you say that you're going to work, they're going to send you home. I was going through one time, and I made the mistake of saying that, and they almost sent us back. The group in front of us wasn't with us; they did send back. And yeah. Oh yeah, yes. Burrendale Park is a little place just in between Newcastle where we worship, where we serve there, and it's a low income housing, and it is full. And so one of the things that we used to do, I haven't in the last little bit, but we would go down to their park and we would organize games. We would take chalk and stuff for the little kids, and we would take snacks, and we would play football with them, and we'd play some basketball. And I told Chris, though, I'm going to tell you, Irish are tough. I mean, I would love to move to Ireland and be there. I really would. But I would hate to think about raising children there, because their kids want to fight all the time, man. They're tough. But yeah. So there's lots of poverty. Their system of doing things is a little different. They a little bit more socialistic in things. Medicine especially, like they don't directly pay for any medical care. It comes out of taxes and things like that. So.
DeWayne, that wall there, is that one side Catholic, one Protestant?
Yes.
Which side of the wall did you guys do your vision work on?
I've been on both sides. Yeah. This was. Richie took us to this area. He just wanted to see on this trip, just to see this wall. Now I've been in areas where there's no rioting and stuff. This is literally 5 minutes from downtown Belfast. So he drove us up and dropped us off. I just remembered a funny story. I drive when I go over there, and I'm so nervous every time, because I don't know what the street. There's markings on the street, and I really don't know what they mean. But I got up here, right here, as a matter of fact. And so I dropped off the kids that were with us, and I was going to go up and turn around. Well, it's downhill a little bit. I'm shifting with my left hand. I couldn't find reverse, and I get stuck in the street sideways. There's cars coming, and there's police watching me. And I'm thinking, Lord, don't arrest me. Don't ask for anything. But I got it and grounded out there and got back up. But yeah, so we took the kids up and let them sign the wall, read some of the things on it. This is the Protestant side. It just so happens to be. So, yeah. Protestant schools, Catholic schools, near the tween they meet. I was in Cookstown one time. We were doing a vacation Bible school sports camp, and we were going to go out and pass out some flyers. We were working through a Presbyterian church, Newcastle Presbyterian. That church, the building itself, is 350 years old. It's amazing the history that's there. One of the churches we went into, the congregation started at 500 AD, and the church was like 500 years old. It was just amazing. But we were passing out these flyers to people, and so here comes some little school kids up, some girls, some boys. They were in their Catholic gear. We didn't know that. I just thought, well, that's a nice looking school uniform you got on there. And so we're talking to them, and they're talking back to us, because we talk funny to them. And then we said, hey, we're doing this sports camp over here at the Presbyterian church. And they all looked at each other. They took it and went shh, and gave us some hand signals on how to get back to the church, put it that way. Yeah, and these are little squeakers about this tall. Wow, yeah. Yeah, boy. That year that I went over there, we took some sports equipment. I went around and got some baseball gloves donated, and the pastor's son, I gave him one of the gloves, and he was tickled. So I went back 15 years later. He's a grown young man. He brings that ball glove out, and we had the best talk. But he was a good boy. They're welcoming. They're warm. You will learn to love tea, hot tea. Food's great. It's safe. It's amazing. The sights that you'll see are incredible. The ministry is powerful. What else? Any other questions? Any questions at all? It's okay.
Can you take trips to do things? When I say that, I mean like I've done medical trips and animal trips. And like, do you try to group together people of the same skill set, or do you just mix together and just do whatever they do?
Yeah, a little of both. If we know that we're going during a time that they're going to do Vacation Bible School, I always go to those specialists in Vacation Bible School, those who are skilled with children. We have in the past taken some professionals like dentists that were over there, and they just became part of what they did. You know, they would look at some of the Irish teeth are terrible, and so they would kind of look, and that stuff we've taken. We, as I said earlier, we've taken people who know construction over if we know there's going to be a building project to help out, or we just take a group of people who want to go and they'll put us to work. Most of it, I would say 90% of the work that we do there is all about building relationships. So if you can talk to people, if you have a joy about yourself, man, that's what they need, and that just builds interest in what's going on there. Yeah. And not to say it couldn't be even more specific, because it could. Who's ready to go? All right. Any other questions? I told you about the. Oh. All right, Paula Kay. That's what my mom's name, Paula Kay is.
That's all right. I told her even Jesus couldn't get her to drink tea. So.
There you go. There you go. Yes, ma'am. Oh, that's a good question. A lot of it fluctuates on the airfare, so I'm assuming, I haven't checked in a little bit, but with gas prices, it'll go up. I've gone for as cheap as $500 round trip to as much as about $1,000. It's not usually too crazy. The stay, and I'll have to update this because I know he hasn't raised prices in forever. 20 years. It was $55 American a day, and that gives you your lodging. That gives you 3 unbelievable meals that they cook for you, traditional Irish food, and some going out meals that pays for that too, and transportation to mission sites. We always, I always encourage a couple things. One, we'll pay for the transportation you'll fly into Dublin, and it's about a 2-hour bus ride north to where we stay. So we always pay for that coach. I don't want him to incur that cost. And so it's not very expensive when everybody chips in. We usually give him $100 for transportation on top. And that'll get you a trip to the Giants Causeway and around to see the sights and stuff. It just helps. Their fuel price, back when we were paying $1 and something, it was about $7 a gallon. It's very expensive there. Everything's diesel, everything's 6-speed. And I always tell people, bring you a camera with the largest memory card you can. We had a young lady went with us the first year, and bless her heart, she was kind of delicate. I love her to pieces, but she's a little bit delicate. She took probably 200 pictures, and it was pre-memory cards. She lost every picture she had. She was so upset. So everybody pulled their pictures together, and it wasn't the same, but at least she had something, So, usually I tell people, if you don't have your passport, that's another expense. But I usually tell people somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000. It's a very affordable trip. Yeah. And my belief has always been, if God guides, He will provide. But you got to do your part, whatever that means. Save your pennies, make it a priority. Here's something else. What we want in America, we generally will get. If you want a new TV, you'll set aside $10 here and there. If you want a new car, you'll rearrange. And so if you want to go on a mission trip, I think we can do it. Yes, sir. Hey, brother, I'd go stay forever. Typically, I encourage teams to go for 2 weeks or 10 days. 10 days would be minimum. You're going to spend the better part of a day traveling over, a little longer than. And when you get there, after a long day and a half of travel, most likely, he will not let you sleep because he wants to get you on their time. In the summertime, it doesn't get dark till about 11 o'clock at night, and the sun comes up about 4 in the morning. So he wants to get you, yeah. He's praise the Lord, that's right. It's, Yes, yes, there is. Summer's definitely best. June, July, August. It's the most expensive time to get airfare, but it's the warmest time. It's the funniest thing you've ever seen. If it gets to about 70 degrees, they're stripping clothes off. They're about to die, and it's just cooler climate. It doesn't get real cold there. It doesn't snow very often. It'll snow in the mountains, but it doesn't necessarily snow down in the bottoms. But so it runs 30 degrees to about 70. Sometimes it gets a little hotter, and it's been a little warmer the last few years. But definitely June, July, August, great. And one of the things that you'll find is everybody has a dog, and everybody finds time to get out and walk. It's the neatest thing. There's a lot. People will walk there, and they'll get out and walk those dogs in the parks, and it's so fun to talk to them. Everybody, if you want to stop and talk, pet their dog there, they love it, and they will love that you're an American. They will ask you political questions, and I'm not a political person. So when it was President Clinton was in office and all that was going on, they wanted to know everything about that. I don't know.
If you have, let's say you were going to use your cell phone as your camera, you have to have an adapter to plug your phone in and charge it?
Yes. So, and those are real cheap. And there's an adapter that you can plug directly into it. And a lot of things, and it's an adapter, not a, there's another word. Some appliances that you take, you have to have a transformer? Converter. Thank you very much. Thank you for that word. It's a word of the day, converter. Could not remember it because it'll blow your hairdryer up completely. But you can take like a computer and you can just kind of plug it in with an adapter and it's fine. And iPhone's the same way, or most phones, same way. My plan was to get Richie Shilladay to talk to you all night, but what we'll do is we'll save that. I never got in contact with him. They're a little bit ahead of us. I think right now with the time change, they're 4 hours ahead of us. But if there is a team that forms, and I will be glad to help, as much as I can, get you there. And it's really easy. And I'll connect you. Well, actually, I'll connect Chris with Richie, and you all can talk with him a whole bunch. He's tough. He's a little bit snarky in a funny sort of way. He's a great young man. I say young man, he's 40. He will push you to serve and to get out of your comfort zone. He will push you to go deeper in your own personal relationship with Jesus, and that's one of the things I love about it. Any other questions? No questions about me and Chris and our time in prison, right? Well, Chris, I'll turn it back over to you, buddy.
Thank you, man. Appreciate that. I think sometimes it's just better for us to get a personal experience. We can put flyers up and we can, hey, go do this and go do that. And we see that. But when you have boots on the ground and people that are doing ministry in these places, to be able to just come and say, yeah, this is a legitimate need. These people are real. Their need for Christ is real. It just makes a difference. And so, and there are lots of people who do lots of mission work, different countries and different places. But we don't always have a personal connection to bring someone in to talk about those things. And so with DeWayne's experience there, especially in Ireland and his love for that, to just come and share a little bit about that with you, to kind of whet your appetite a little bit again, to begin to make you start thinking intentionally about not only where you're going away, but what you're doing here amongst those that are closest to us. You don't have to go across the ocean to find poverty. You can stand on the front porch of this church Monday through Friday and see it multiple times a day. So, missions is not heroic. It's service. And I would honestly just tell you from my heart, if your desire is to just go and come back and show people pictures of all the babies that you held and all of what you did, and you have nothing to say about what God did, I would tell you to stay home and find something closer. Because people need Christ. I mean, that's it, and that's what it needs to be about. So, and while you're there, hold all the babies you want, love on them all you want, but when you come back, don't just talk about everything you did. Talk about what God's done, and people are building relationships. I mean, golly, how many times have we heard that word in the last 10 months? This is about relationships. You don't get to share Jesus with people that you don't know. And that's not because of you, but people are just going to be a little more drawn in and protective of those things. So if any of you all are even would be interested in praying about that, let me pray along with you on that. Again, this is not a sales pitch. This is an opportunity to say, hey, it's out there. And you just if you feel that God leads you to it, then that's where we go. So, any other questions or anything before we dismiss tonight? No? All right. Well, let me pray for us all. God, we are so thankful tonight to be able to see your hand at work across the world. And God, I know that, I'll just be honest, Father, I know that there are probably a lot of people in this room who have said to themselves in their mind or to their spouse or someone else sitting beside of them, man, I would love to do that, but I just don't think I could. God, you, as we learned this morning, are a God of disruption, and you are capable of more than we can even begin to imagine. And so if there are those that Father, feel a call to that, empower them in their mind to know that it would be you doing it anyway, and that their obedience is what you would ask. And so in whatever way it is, whether it's a trip to Ireland or a trip over here just across the Business 85 loop to folks who are struggling in addiction, living in poverty, homeless, hurting. God, there's not a lot of need to pray about what you would have us do. It's just when and where. And so I pray that you would really open our eyes to see the need among us, and that you would, God, challenge us more than anything. I thank you so much for our renewal weekend. I thank you for opening our eyes and our ears and our hearts to things that we need to hear, to be challenged, God, about those moments in our lives where you are working and whether we have either chosen to follow or chosen to turn away. And I would pray you would continue to bring those moments into our lives that would be defining moments and choices that would simply say it's either you or it's us, and that we would choose you every time. That, God, you would make it very clear, because we are just a doubting people. So often, Father, we have no confidence in what we already know about you to be true. And we ask you time and time again, show us your will, show us your will, show us your will. And you've already done that. It's just our acceptance of your will that we need to change. So I pray, Father, that as you continue to mold us and this church family into who you are calling us to be, that we truthfully will see that your love and your ministry is without borders, whether that be locally or all over this world. We love you and we thank you, Father, and we ask and pray these things in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord and our Savior. And all God's people said, amen. God bless you, folks. Y'all have a great... Oh, wait, I got to tell you about this. Some of y'all don't know this. All right, so I announced the notepad this morning with the signature and everything in it, and like nobody got it. There was only 3 bags left. And I'm like, are you serious? This cannot happen. And so after church, after you all came and were shaking hands and everybody was leaving, our newest sister in Christ in the church, Shannon Brown, that joined this morning, went upstairs and pulled out her notepad, and it was hers. And so she was down here, so she couldn't get it. So Shannon has a prize coming to her. So that was just a very unique time. So, but I would like to say one other special thank you before I dismiss you. I would like to say a very special thank you to our Wednesday ladies, Golden Girls, our Bible study. These ladies, this past Wednesday, took every single one of those swag bags and packed them up for you. And they did it with smiles on their faces. And even some of them was a little bit mad because I thought I got Jolly Ranchers. I got Jolly Rancher gummies. And so a couple were like, well, what am I going to do? And I was like, God, really? So they wanted to do more. So if we could take that attitude, if I don't have something that I'm disappointed I won't want to do, hey, we would just rock it. So ladies, thank you for those of you spread across this room for what you do. You're as much a part of this weekend as anybody up here sharing the gospel. And you need to know that. You need to know that. So love y'all. We will see you this week. Men's Bible study Wednesday night. If you want to come and are not coming, come on. But I need to know so I can get you a book. All right? Because I got to get them because I'm already sold out. So God bless y'all. Thank y'all so much. Love y'all. We'll see you this week.